Okay, the software. Today we are going to discuss about an important topic, that is software architecture, because it is a base on which any kind of a software can be prepared. It means to build any software or any kind of a construction or any kind of a product. So we need one kind of a blueprint for it. Blueprint in the sense it will describe about how we are going to build any particular product or any particular software or any particular construction. We need to put all the things which are required for it in the form of a diagram. That is called as a blueprint. So similarly, when you are discussing about software development, the architecture is also important on which the software has to be developed. So what this architecture comprises about, or what does this architecture contains, and what does it discuss about, and what are the elements which are concentrated in this architecture, and what are the different styles in which an architecture can be viewed, and what are the key issues to be concentrated as part of the software architecture design. So first of all, before we proceed about software architecture details, let me confirm you the details that software architecture is being discussed as part of design strategy. As part of design. As part of a design strategy, we are discussing about software architecture. So when this design phase starts, because we already discussed SRS, requirement specification document, that has been finished. So now we have a document in our hand called as SRS document, which will be treated as the base for the design for the architecture. So in SRS, all the things have been kept. Now based on that, a particular structure will be defined. I will give a general example for it, what exactly architecture will look like. So let us say that we have a car company like Maruti or some other companies. So every car has its own structure. So different cars have different structures. So depending on the companies, they follow different structures. Structures means it is in the form of diagrammatic representation, that is called as a blueprint. Based on that blueprint, they will be building all the cars. We are discussing about cars company. So every car company has its own design, particular design in the form of a blueprint. Let us say that a company, so and so company, has designed one car which is released in 2019, which was released in 2019. Let us say that. So what happens in the year 2022? After 3 years, the company designed one more car with extra features into it by adding some more features into it. So what do you mean by this? It means, are they designing the structure once again, or they are implementing or adding some more features to the existing one? That must be understood here. Are they designing the structure from the scratch, or they are using the previous structure, or adding some more flexibilities, or adding some more features to it? So that is what the most important here. So structure or the architecture which we are going to discuss as part of the software is also the same. That is, based on a particular structure, a software is going to be built. So let us say that for which for which kind of projects architecture is most important for us. Let us say that a project which is of, or a small company which is of which needs, or is some application which needs only 500 lines or 1000 lines or 2000 lines of code. An application which has only 500 lines or 1000 lines of code, for that kind of applications the architecture will not be much important for us. So for which kind of softwares the architecture will be considered as most important. Let us say that if any software which contains about more than 5000 or 10,000 lines of code, such kind of software projects will need the architecture to be defined specifically. If not, they will not be successful. So let us discuss the details of the software architecture, the role of software architecture in designing a software. So as we know, it is after the requirement base, as we are discussing as part of design phase, that is software architecture. So designing software architecture will be the most important. So what exactly a software architecture is? It can be defined in such a way that it is a structure of the system that consists of the software elements, where each element defines some behavior of the system and also the relationship among these elements. I will repeat the definition once again. That is, a software architecture is a structure of the system that consists of software elements, where each element defines some behavior of the system and also the relationship among these elements. See, this is what definition of our software architecture. So it is one kind of a structure based on which it contains some important elements, and the relationship among those elements will be considered. It means any software architecture or architecture of a software is divided into several parts, partitions. So every part has its own important. Every component which is divided as a partition will has its own independency, and as a whole it will be discussed as a software architecture. So let us see the details of it. So any complex system is composed of subsystems that interact with each other. So just now I said, if any system which is going to be built, if it is a software system or any kind of a system, first it has to be big system. Then only it can be divided into subsystems. So while designing a systems, an approach should be identified based on the subsystems and how these subsystems will interact with each other. Here we are considering a subsystem, maybe any kind of a function, method, any kind of a thing or a process as part of programming language as we discuss. So a complex system is composed of subsystems that interact with each other. While designing the systems, an approach is to be identified by the subsystems and how they interact with each other. So this will be the major aim of software architecture, which tries to do for the software also. So software architecture tries to do this for the software. That is, a complex system will be built with the help of the subsystems, with the communication between them also. So here in the next point, the architecture or the architecture is viewed as a system at the highest level, is the system design viewed at the highest level, and it contains several things to be considered to build any architecture. There are so many things to be considered here. What sort of technologies which are supposed to be used by a software according to the architecture, and what sort of products should be used Either it may be applications or any kind of third party applications which are going to be used on a particular architecture, and different types of servers which are made at the architecture level. So it is not possible to design a system details, but we can accommodate the details into the architecture. So details of the systems will not be designed at the architecture level, but the architecture will be giving the solutions for the details which are supposed to be there in the design, and it can accommodate them. So by the architecture, we can also evaluate the reliability and the performance. So let us say that uh, I will give a general example. Like just now I discussed about the car. Similarly, if any design of a particular company's car is not performing, it is not performing well, then you will be suggesting to other friends that it is not good, it is not at all good a car, it is not at all good for you, so it is not performing well, it is not reliable one. So you are giving some kind of a feedback to the other person who is buying the same car. So what do you mean by this? There is some kind of a design faults will happen. So to understand them, first of all, the architecture should be evaluated based on two aspects. They are reliability and performance of the architecture. So architecture is a design of the software that gives a very high level views of the parts. They relate to form the whole. As we discussed, that is an architecture can be dividing. If architecture is considered to be a big problem, then sub problems will be the next level parts. So partitions the systems in parts such that each part can comprehend and implement independently and describe the relationship between the parts. So same thing has been repeated in here once again. Okay. So coming to the definition of the software architecture, just now I told you software architecture is a structure of structures which comprises elements, their externally visible properties and relationship among them. And architecture describes the different structures of the system. See, there is no, as part of architecture, we are not sticking to a particular architecture. There are so many architectures will be there. There are no particular structure will be there. There will be different number of structures according to the requirements of the users. So let us understand the key uses of architecture descriptions. Here, one thing is must that it has to understand and it has to communicate between different types of stakeholders. That is, if a software is going to be built, there are so many people to be considered and make them understand and try to communicate them about the architecture details. So that is what the major importance. So one thing is for sure that we are going to build a software product, and it will be of particular architecture, and it will be based on some particular existing system also. So while the design aspects of the architecture has been understood by the stakeholders and the clients and architects and designers, so many peoples, then it will be easy to do. Next, one of the use is reusing of architecture. So it is one of the advantage here. So just now I told you. So a car which is released in 2019 of a particular company is remodeled or redesigned and released in 2022. It means that they are not working from the scratch. They have been adding some more features to the existing one. That is what the reusability feature of software architecture. So next, construction and evaluation. So it is nothing but building a software architecture and evaluating the software architecture. So There are some structures in the architecture descriptions which will be used for the system development. Not all of them. Some of the structures in the architecture description will be used as a system development, as part of this system development. So partitioning at architecture level can also be used for work allocation to teams as parts are relatively independent. So partitioning at the architectural level means, let us say that an architecture contains so many things. See, similarly, when we take a general example regarding an institution or any college, so there are so many departments are there, so many sections are there. So what is the use of dividing so many things? Because they have to work for the collectively, and they communicate with each other also. So there are so many sections are there, so many departments are there. So similarly, architecture also contains so many partitions. Independently, they work together and communicate together. During software evolution, architecture helps to decide what needs to be changed to incorporate the new changes in the features. So software evolution, as part of software evolution, evolution is nothing but implementation of it. Once the software has been implemented, it has to be deciding on what kind of features should be added in future also. And it also decides what is the impact on the existing components of others. So the third or the fourth use, that is analysis. So during analysis, there are important properties of the system which is actually built. So from the design, there are alternatives to be considered. During the design, the reach has to be performance levels. The software architecture opens possibilities for the softwares. See, analysis is based on so many things like performance and reliability, as we said in the previous section. It is majorly analysis of an architecture will be done on two things, that is reliability and performance. So software architecture will be concentrating on much more on it. Next, how an architecture can be viewed from outside. So there is no unit architecture for a system. There are different views of a software system. A view consists of elements and relationship between them, and it will describe a particular structure. So combination of elements and relationships will describe a particular structure. So the elements of view depends on what view wants to highlight, and it will expose different properties, and it will be focusing on some aspects which will reduce the complexities also. So the views may be are of three types, that is module view of an architecture, component and connector view of an architecture, and allocation view of an architecture. So whenever any particular software has been built, it will be viewed in terms of modules. So let us say that user module will be there, administrator module user will be there, backend module will be there, front end module will be there, backend, all this collection of all these modules will be deciding the particular architecture also. So many types of views that have been proposed, but most of them belong to one of these three types. So any software will be based on any one of these views. Either it may be module or component and connector or allocation. So different views are unrelated. They are not related, but sorry, they are related. They all represent the same system. And the elements which are part of it will be communicating which with each other. So as part of module view, a system will be considered as a collection of code units. They do not represent any runtime entities. So they are not executable code units. They are just a collection of code units. So elements in this module view are something like class, package, function, procedures. These are belonging to some of the coding parts. So relationship between them is code based because class is part of package. So procedures or functions are same. So functions are part of classes are part of package. So there is some kind of relationship between them based on different types of coding they will be used. Next, component and connector views. Elements are runtime. In this component and connector view, there are runtime entities called as components. So runtime entities are nothing but executable components or elements are called as runtime entities. They may be objects, processes, or .exe files or .dll files. So what about connectors? Connectors are nothing but making these components to communicate with the other components. The connectors will be used. They may be shared memories. See, I will shared memory is one kind of a concept which lies in the operating system as well as sockets also and pipes. So shared memory is nothing but a memory which is shared by two or more objects or two or more processes together. So what happens? It is one kind of a medium through two or more processes can communicate with each other. So connectors will provide such kind of interaction between the components. So components may be any kind of objects, processes, .exe files, runtime entities. So view, as part of allocation view, it will focus on how the software units have been allocated to the hardware, file system, or the peoples. So allocation view is nothing but allotting the components to particular units or the software units to particular file system or hardwares. And it also specifies the relationship between the software elements and execution units in this environment. Let us see. Yeah, let us come to the component and connector view, which is most important for us. It contains two elements, that is component and connectors. Components will be regarded as the computational element or the data stores, and connector will be the means of interaction between the components, and it will define the components and which components will connect through which connector. So a component and connector will define so many things. It will be defining component connection and what sort of connections will be used as part of different types of components. So these are some of the aspects related to the component and connector view. So components, now we are describing one after the other. Here components has been discussed. Every component has a name and has a role, and it contains one identity to be called. Along with that, a component has a type of it. Okay, it will be represented by different symbols in the component and connector view. So let us see what are those. So here these are different types of components. Like client is one component, server is one kind of a component, database is one kind of a component, application is one kind of a component. So all these components are represented by some kind of symbol. So next, here these are some, if they are called as components, if these are called as components, now how they can be connected with each other. So there should be some kind of a medium. So connectors are the things which can make the communication happen. Interaction between components happens through the connectors. A connector may provide by the runtime environment, maybe procedure calls. So I will give a general example. You have a concept called, I think you have completed a subject called as Java. I want answers from you. That is, I think you have completed Java subject in your second semester, I think so.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in this Java concept, you have a concept called remote procedure call. remote procedure call, RPC. RPC is one kind of a concept where you are supposed to call a procedure is a function, a piece of code. Procedure is nothing but a piece of code which is remotely located, which is not part of your local system. You are calling a function or a procedure which is remotely located. So what happens here is you will be using some kind of a communication medium between them. So if you are connecting to remote system, it means you have to be using some kind of internet protocols. Okay, you should have some kind of a protocols. Based on that protocols, you can able to communicate with the remote systems. So that is what happens with the example here. It is mentioned as procedure calls. That's why I discussed about the protocols. So connectors need not to be binary. It can be broadcast bus. So may not be the binary form. It can be a bus form. Bus is nothing but it is a connection of cables. So connector has a name and it will represent as a protocol whenever it is used. Most of the time, the connectors will be in the form of protocols, because if we are using a module view or some kind different types of views, they will be using different types of styles. So that's why most of the time connectors will be represented as protocols. See, these are some examples regarding connectors. This first one is bus type connector. Second one is database connector, request reply connector, pipe connector, RPC connector. So RPC connector, you can observe here, there are two arrow marks from right side and left side. It means that there is a two-way communication between them. So to different components, it can be happening. This is one kind of an example which has been given here as part of software application. So design a system for taking online survey of students on campus. So how you can take a survey? The survey can be made based on the different types of questions. The questions may be of multiple choice questions and the students may submit it online. After submitting the information or the survey online by the students, the results will be displayed at that according to the students. So what kind of a architecture will be used as part of this system design? See here, student is one kind of a user who is interacting with some kind of a front end tool. That is, he is interacting with some kind of an application. After that, based on the information which is provided by the student, that will be stored in the database. From the database, after analyzing the survey, you will be showing the results back to the students. So it is three-way architecture. That is three-tier architecture which has been proposed for the above mentioned example. Because client will be a student, server will be maintaining the responding with the details, and the details will be stored into the database. So there are different types of connectors will be used here. So observe this in this example. What are the different types of connectors which have been used? See here, we are concentrating on particular language here. We are considering one of the programming language called as Java over here. See, try to observe here. Client will be a client system. It may be any person who is trying to interact with the server. So server will be getting the details about particular request which has been made by the client through the database. It will search the database whether the request which has been sent by the client is available in the database or not. If the information is available in the database, then the server will be responding with that result to the client. So there are different types of connectors which has been used. When client is connecting with the server, that is client component is communicating with the server component. Which connector is used here? HTTP kind of a connector is used because they should be connected to internet. So hypertext transfer protocol is one kind of a medium through which communication can be established between the client system and the server system. So let us observe here one more, the second part of it, that is server is communicating with the database. So there is a two-way communication is happening here. So what kind of connector has been used is JDBC access. So server is communicating with the database with the help of JDBC, Java Database Connectivity Access. See, we considered here Java only. So according to that, JDBC is one kind of a connector which makes the server application to be communicating with the databases. Any database, it may be any database, the server can communicate with it. Or else a general example can be explained here. That is, if you are searching for a particular information over the internet by using a browser called as Google Chrome. So what happens if you search for a particular information, you will be typing the text into the search text field, and after that, or search engine, after that you press the search button, it will be greeting you to so many related informations or the related links to you. So what do you mean by this? Where does this links will be located? So all these links will be located in the server. So server will be responding with this information, and after that, once you click on a particular link, it will be directly jumping to the server. In the backend, database is also viewed. So all the information will be stored in the database. Whenever a particular client is requesting, the server is responding with that one with the help of the databases. So here, three-tier architecture is used here. Here, three-tier architecture is nothing but first tier is client, second server, third database. So three components have been concentrated here, and connectors are HTTPs and JDBCs. Okay, so this is all for today. If possible, I will repeat the same topic in the next class also. This is all for today. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.